grew up as a little girl without parents. My mother knew this woman, and I was born in 1960, so I was conceived in Vietnam. And she became pregnant with me by a man that she had met right after I was born. She, from the hospital, went to be with this woman and left me. She got up, my mother was gone, and she kept me. The house that I was left in, she lived with her sister, and they made their money uh, by men. I was 3, and one of those men came to my room, and that is my first memory. That was my childhood, and my last memory of that happening to me, I was 15. So I would have years of that. She would marry 8 times, but also at this time a wonderful thing happened. I would go to Sunday school class, and they held this picture up, and it was Jesus, and it was all these little kids sitting around. The Sunday school teacher told me that he loved me, and it was the first time I heard those words. And I was like, okay, he loves me, and that you can talk to him. Okay. It never occurred to me that I couldn't. So as much as my earliest memory is her husband forgetting what room he should go in, my earliest memory is finding out Jesus loved me. So when things would happen, I would close my eyes and just talk to him. And I fell in love. I would meet Terry. And Terry would be the first person with skin on that loved me unconditionally. He would be very sick very early, and we would fight cancer many times. I will never forget one afternoon, I was getting ready to have Bible study. He had come home, and so he was going to go on a date with our daughter, Lisa. We had kissed in the kitchen, and he had walked out the door. And the next thing I knew is Lisa and Daddy had pulled back up into the drive. And she came in and she said, Mama, Daddy's not okay. And the paramedics came, and he had blown his mitral valve. And it's called a widowmaker for a reason. We get to the hospital, and we will spend the next 9 months of our lives there. I just knew, for me, my father saw us through every surgery he went through, because every time they took me in the OR, they would come back and say, Teddie, his chances are not good. Okay. But I also knew that he was in the hands of the one that saw me through my childhood. He was in the hands of the one that brought him back from Vietnam when his whole battalion was killed. He was the one that did all that. He had this. What never occurred to me is he had this on the other side of heaven. Right after Terry died, and I had sat in my bathroom. I sat by the shower and laid my arm in, and I held a razor blade for 3 hours. And I said, I'm just tired. I'm so tired. And my heart was broke. And you said when we married that we were one. And I'm not one anymore. He met me right there in that floor with that razor blade. And he reminded me that all that time in that hospital, when people saw him through us, when we got to still be his hands and feet in a hospital room with tubes and a machine that kept him alive, that if I did that, we would become a tragedy. And I wasn't born to be a tragedy. Looking back at my whole story, being 56 years of age, and knowing what it is to be depressed, where you can't lift your head up, you think you can't breathe, but looking back and seeing the hand of God from the little girl who wasn't safe to the young woman who didn't even know how to be a woman because she had been used as one when she was just a child, and seeing his faithfulness, and then be who I am now, married to this amazing man that God has given me, seeing this full circle of where only God could have brought me. Every single day, I have this love inside of me that I can't even hold there. And I get to just go pour this out. I get to pour it out on my husband. I get to pour it out on the lady in the grocery store that I get 5 minutes with. But I get to be his heart. I get to be his heart. My name was Teddie Lee Cox. Tender love and care. That's what I grew up in. I grew up in his tenderness and his love and in his care ultimately. So I will spend the rest of my life, and God, please let it be the last breath, being about my Father's business and his